Well, it's another day in Jets land without a transaction. Slow news day, as they say. In Jets land, Frankie from Flatbush reporting from Frankie from Flatbush headquarters on all things New York Jets. And so, what are we going to talk about today? Well, what about grading the best free agency moves the Jets have made so far? We did the worst yesterday. How about the best today? That's what we're going to take a look at. But first, I'm going to remind you to please, pretty please, subscribe to this channel. We have a goal of getting up to 1,000 subscribers. We'd appreciate your help with that. We're very far away from that number right now. But nonetheless, we would like you to help out by clicking that little subscribe button. And if that's too much for you, maybe just give a like to the video with a thumbs up, or even consider going the extra mile and joining the inner circle where people get exclusive stuff in the inner circle. It's $5 a month. Today, for example, people got a PDF of all of the proposed rule changes. There's a number of rule changes that have been proposed by various teams. There's a PDF of it. Well, Frankie got it, and now all the inner circle members have it as well. And they also got something pertaining to all the 30 visits that the Jets are scheduled to conduct coming up so far. And they have a listing of that. So there's lots and lots of things, including the Frankie from Flatbush theme song. You can get that in MP3 format and put in your playlists and whatnot. So consider joining. All right. That being said, let's take a look. We're going to do this quick today, not a 20-minute video like yesterday. I think that was too long. So we're going to do a quickie. Best free agency moves so far. We're going to give a grade. I would say wide receiver Tyler Johnson gets a B minus. Tyler Johnson. Now he comes to us from the Rams, and the reason this is a B minus, and the reason I like it as a move, this is not a guy who's going to create separation. He's not a speedster, not a burner, but he does have good hands. And if you are playing against zone, he's going to be able to find gaps in the zone. He's going to catch the ball and get you some yardage. Not a speedster, not a guy who's going to create separation. You want to shut Tyler Johnson down, you just use man coverage on him and you can shut him down pretty good. But how many teams are going to want to use straight man coverage against Tyler Johnson, who's going to be, option C, D, E, or F on our offense? So a decent guy. He's not going to put up huge stats, but I think he can play a role. And for the cost that it cost us, I think a good job. Then coming in fourth, center guard Josh Myers, B plus. We needed interior line help. We needed basically a Wes Schweitzer improvement. The big difference between Wes Schweitzer and Josh Myers: Myers has more experience and he's been more durable in his career. Younger, Schweitzer has an injury history, unfortunately. So this is a B plus move. You got your backup center, your backup guard, your backup guard. If you would want to move AVT out to right tackle, if you absolutely need to, you can do that by inserting Myers at guard or center and kicking Tippmann to guard. So gives us some flexibility on the line there, and for a very low cost. B plus move. Third on the list, Stone Cold Smart. He gets a B plus. I did a whole video about him, film study, where we took a look at some of his attributes. He's basically a large wide receiver, if you think about it. He's not going to block too much. He is he's taller and sturdier than you might think, so he's going to give you an effort in the blocking game. But he's not going to be an inline player, and he's not going to be putting people in the dirt. He's more of the wide receiver type, and he has good hands. He has good speed, good size, and so he can be a very nice pass catching tight end. And for what it cost us, which is very little, that's a B plus signing in my book. Then number two, they're going to cheat on this. He wasn't technically a brand new free agent. He's more of a re-signing, and I was excluding all the re-signs. Otherwise, Sherwood would be on here, But otherwise, I was keeping the re-signings out of this list. But I put Kene on here because not too many Jet fans thought that Kene was coming back, and most people didn't even know who he was. And a lot of people didn't even know he was on our team. Well, I did. But as soon as the season ended, I said we should resign that guy because it's not going to cost much, and he did a great job as a kick returner, and he gives you some flexibility. He could be your fourth running back, but he's mostly just a kick returner and plays on all the special teams, coverage units, and all that. And so to me, that's an A. If you can get an explosive kick return guy and a backup running back and a guy who plays on all the coverage teams and such. That's an A signing, especially for the amount of money that it costs us. Is going to be very, very minimal. And number one, brrr, Justin Fields gets an A from me. Now, some people will say, what the hell? We spent a lot of money on this guy. We spread out the cap, and there's going to be some dead money after the second year and all this. But to me, the for a quarterback, the contract was very minimal. It's a nice contract for Justin, but it's a prove it deal. And if he plays very well, the reason this is an A, it's the contract is not bad for a quarterback. It's actually excellent for a starting quarterback, and it gives us optionality. Either if Fields does really well and we win way more games than we think we might this year, let's say we go to the playoffs, God forbid, then Justin Fields could get a long-term contract with us, and then we got our solution. Well, if not, and he only plays okay, he can become a backup next year for the quarterback that we draft, for example. Or we can release him with very little consequence. Yeah, there's some dead cap there, but it's not a problem. I mean, every team has dead cap. People make out dead cap to be too much of an argument. It's really not a big deal. Look at the Saints, for example. I just saw something today. Everybody knows the Saints were over the cap at the season's end, and now with all the maneuverings they made, now they have $30 million in cap room. I mean, you just keep kicking the can down the road, and for the Saints, I guess it never the bill never comes due. But nonetheless, the point is, given our circumstances, what we had to choose, once the choice was made not to retain Rodgers, and you can feel however you want about that, but once that choice was made, given the options then that we had on the table, I think the Justin Fields signing is an A because of all the reasons I said, and it'll be interesting to see how Tanner Engstrom adjusts his offense to the strengths of Justin Fields, which is very different than somebody like Jared Goff. And so that's the other thing about this that makes me give it an A. It shows an adaptability and a flexibility for our new coaching staff. And that's the number one thing you're going to need going forward because of the ubiquity of tape and the fact that everybody knows everything you're doing the minute you do it in the NFL right now. And so if you're one of these people who are just like, we're going to major in the major stuff, we're going to major in what we do, we're going to be so good at it, it doesn't matter if you know that we're going to do it, you're going to lose. That's the Salah Albrecht way, right? And probably Hackett falls in this category as well. We're just going to do what we do. We're going to have elite people doing it, and we're going to be so good that you're not going to be able to stop us. Well, that's not going to work in the NFL anymore. In the NFL, it's going to be creativeness, creativity. Uh, you're going to need to be adaptable and flexible, and show people things they've never seen before on the field, so that they can't prepare for it. Which means you need a lot of high football IQ players. You need creative coaches who are adaptable and flexible, and coaches who can really coach. And this is the first sign that we might have a coaching staff now that does just that. Now we'll have to see how it goes. Maybe it's a disaster. We don't know. But it's just the first sign, and this is the first. This is the new staff, and we don't know anything about them other than what they've done before in their previous positions. But we don't know how they're going to look, what it's going to look like this year. But this is the first. This signing is the first of the tea leaves, the major tea leaves that you see starting to fall in place, and that's also why this gets an A for me. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. As I said earlier, please subscribe to the channel or give it a thumbs up, or please consider joining the inner circle. The inner circle is where I eventually want to move everything, if I could. If we get enough people in the inner circle, basically everything will just go to the inner circle, and then that's it. It'll just be a private channel where folks really enjoy the content, and I just give it to them. Well, why not? All right. So that being said, I'll see you next time.